All right, and we're back for hour 2 of Vampire the Requiem Bloodlust. All right, so we got the guy back in the first hour. You guys all filled up on some Vitae, which was desperately needed for a long time. And now you guys are just kind of going off on your own and basically slumbering for the day to reawake as the moon rises on the second night. And you're basically going to be brought right back to this guy's place. That's where he told you to meet. Unless you guys had anything specific that you were looking to do between now and then, we're just going to pick up with you guys all entering the same study that you've become so accustomed to over the past couple of weeks. Only a little different this time. As you walk in to the study, there are now more chairs. Like last time I told you, it was a long mahogany table that could probably sit comfortably 8 people. But there were only 4 chairs, 2 on each side with 1 at the front, so 5 in total. This time, it seems the table is completely filled with chairs. It had all the chairs that you were there before, plus all the ones that were filling in the missing spaces. You're the only ones to walk into the room initially, and the room seems to be undisturbed. Everything that was present from before, we can go back, and everything's been put back in its place and organized. After a few moments of you either wandering around or eventually taking a seat, the door opens. And the first one to walk in is Mr. St. Clair, as it has been. He's wearing a very similar suit to what he was wearing yesterday. If there are differences, it's minor and only the keenest of eye could see them. But behind him, 3 others trail. And I'd like you guys to describe what those 3 people look like. As I did say, I'd like you to create and describe what your sires are and who they are. And the first one, right behind Mr. St. Clair, is actually going to be Varys's and Amelia's sire. So please, let me know, let the viewers know, what does this guy look like? What is his demeanor? Please.
Maggie, you want to take this one? You want me?
You got it, man. You were born before me.
I mean, in more ways than one. All right, so I imagine that the guy that walks in, he's rather laid back for a vampire. So he doesn't walk in, he's not wearing a fine suit or anything like that. He's actually wearing rather normal, comfortable clothes. He actually probably seems a bit too comfortable in this setting, considering the fact that he is with superiors and so on and so forth. He just walks in and just instantly looks as though this is home to him. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We wouldn't know either way, right? The way his actual character looks, he's very nondescript. Somebody you would just see elsewhere and not think twice of. So we're gonna say he's standing at 5'9". He's of medium build. I personally always saw him as African American, and he just looks plain as he's not attractive, he's not ugly, he's not big, he's not small. He's just very, very, very forgettable.
And do you have a name for him?
I'm gonna let Maggie decide the name since I described the guy.
Maggie doesn't actually know his name. So Emmy just has always called him Father because that's what he asked her to call him. So she's always whenever he walks in the door, she's like, Father! And she comes over and she gives him a hug and he hugs her back. And then she kind of holds his hand and they walk and sit down.
Okay.
Lionel,
done. After that is Jimmy's sire. Jimmy, what does your sire look like?
Jimmy's sire is sort of this, he's a guy who may have been a tough biker at some point in the distant past, maybe in the 40s or 50s. He would have worn a leather jacket, but it's clear that he became a vampire in the 60s and never really left that decade. He has a long gray ponytail, sort of scuffed up jacket. It's got a bunch of pins and patches on it. They're all anti-Vietnam War patches, and they say fuck Nixon and stuff.
Gotcha.
And so he's just, and he's dirty, but not dirty like Jimmy's dirty. Not dirty oh, I forgot the shower. Dirty I'm sort of dirty on purpose. Dirty. He's sort of maybe where Jimmy would have ended up in another 30 or 40 years. If Jimmy had lived into his 60s, this is the guy he would have become. And so the sort of the family resemblance is immediately obvious, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And his name is, I don't have a great name for him. Does anyone have a good idea? Hit me. Let me think.
With your bash.
Chad.
It's definitely not Chad. fucking Moonbow it is.
Moonbow. All right,
Yeah,
done.
that's his vampire.
Moonbow.
Whatever his mortal name is, it's long lost. His vampire
Moonbow.
name is
Oh my
Moonbow.
God.
So was that his vampires? Or was that like his hippie? Like he found his spiritual self, man. I'm like I'm
Yes.
Moonbow, man.
I think it's both of those things.
And
The peyote, man. I love that peyote.
Willie Nelson is Jimmy's sire. Perfect. I love it. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
visual inspiration is like Willie Nelson, like Cheech and Chong now that they're old.
All right, done. And the final one to walk in is Caligari's Nosferatu sire. Caligari, what does your sire look like?
No idea. You didn't prep me for this. The only thing that I know via my backstory that I see here,
Mm-hmm.
it says every 3 years in mid-November, a report would come out about a homeless person living in the alleyway, a short block of government buildings. I'm not certain that this person is actually homeless.
Right.
I think that that's just like kind of their weird hunting style.
Yep. Makes sense.
And definitely kind of a drifter, more of a transient. But there's something. God, you did. I thought you were gonna have an NPC for me.
No, I can absolutely have one for you. I just, if you want to.
Yeah, bring all that together.
No,
I don't know
that's-
who my sire is.
It's fine. So much like Caligari, you can tell where Caligari kind of inherited her physical traits. This creature that walks in is disproportionate, not in the same ways of Caligari, but it's got flakes of skin that are just peeling off of it, and under those flakes of skin, this ooze just kind of coats its skin in this shiny layer. He's
Don't go making him cooler than me.
He's completely bald. He has no hair, no eyebrows. He is completely hairless from what you can tell. And much like Caligari, his fingers are elongated and creepy and pointy, and they look like they're so frail. At the gentlest blow of the wind, they could snap. That's how thin they are. You can see the bones through them. And there is a pungent odor that follows him wherever he goes, and it's pretty nasty. You don't have to be too far away from him to smell it. It's nothing that's going to completely take over the room, but within a foot or two of him, there is a horrendous odor that follows him where he goes. The clothing he wears kind of matches that of the way he looks. It's jeans with holes ripped in them and fabric missing, and it's worn at the bottom, with a t-shirt that may at one point have said something, but what's there is so blurred and faded that you can no longer read it. And it is one of his sleeves on his left hand side is completely missing, so he's only got one short sleeve, and then the other one is missing a shirt completely.
I'm in love with my sire now.
There you go. And he kind of walks in with a hunch, and his hands close to his stomach and his chest. And all three of these sires walk in. And what's actually noticeable to all of you, though maybe not necessarily Varys and Emmy because they've been with their sire so much, is that their sire, actually, Lionel, he walks with a little bit of a limp. And when talking about it, and maybe in the past you guys have talked about it, but it was also brought up in the first session, he did sire two people in the same night. And that is extremely weakening to a vampire to even sire one. So the fact that he's walking with a limp, to you guys, you may know, or it may click for you, but he definitely seems like he's not really all that strong. He looks like he's maybe a little tired, slightly injured, pulled muscle or something. That's kind of how he composes himself in front of you. And the three of them end up standing at the front of the table with Mr. St. Clair, who ends up taking a seat, and the three of them stand behind him. And he gestures for the four of you to take a seat, and waits for you to do so. Do all four of you take a seat?
I actually react very differently than I have been the whole time. My relationship with my sire is actually not a bad one, and so I seem a lot more respectful and what's the word I'm looking for? Like, what the hell's that word? Like, I'm more willing to go along with it. What the fuck is that word?
I'll
think of it.
with it. I don't know what you're talking about.
It'll come to me, but I'm more that.
Amenable?
Yeah. I'm more amenable. To go over, sit down, do whatever I need to do. I shut the fuck up.
Okay. With your sire in the room, you shut the fuck up. Got it.
What was Caligari's sire's name?
I didn't give him a name. Do you want to give him a name, Caligari? You can let you think on it. It's not imperative right
Okay.
now. We'll let you think on it.
I'm sorry. You
No,
didn't warn me
it's
not to
fine.
tell.
It's totally fine. So, anyway, they stand, wait for the four of you to sit. Do all four of you sit? No problem.
Oh yeah, Emmy probably would have sat next to him probably when they walked in because she was holding his hand.
Okay. So eventually, when all four of you do take a seat, each sire walks over to where the kind of the three of you are. Jimmy, Moonclaw, is that his name? I forgot. Hang on, I wrote it down. Moonbow walks over and stands behind you. Lionel stands behind the two of you, like behind where you're sitting. And Caligari, your sire, walks over to you and kind of places his elongated fingers on your shoulder. And he looks down at you with like a wry smile. And he seems very proud of you for what you've done. And Mr. St. Clair plops into the chair and
I waved the arm at him, by the way.
he actually smiles widely at that and like shakes the hand of the arm that you grabbed. And Mr. St. Clair sits down in the chair, looks each of you in the eye, and says, "Well, Childer, congratulations. You're no longer Childer. You're neonates. Welcome to the table. I want to say welcome to being equals, but it's going to be quite a while before any of you are equals to any of us. But you're no longer at the leash, at the whims of your sires, meaning they can't kill you for any wrongdoings that you do. Now they can just kill you if they feel like it." And he laughs and he chuckles at his own joke. And he gestures, and the sires actually end up taking the seats next to you and sitting down at the table. And he says, "Yes, perfect. Now you sit next to them as equals." So I did summon all of you here for a purpose. Now, the sires, the three of you know why you're here, and you were instrumental in allowing us to borrow your children to take care of a problem. We did get Alex back safely thanks to your Childer, and your sires did a fantastic job raising you as their own. Oh, and he like clasps his hand in a motherly way. We, however, ask one more favor of the four of you, if you'd be so willing to go about it. This time, however, you're not earning your freedom, nothing as insignificant as that. This time you'll be paid proper money, and if you go about it, I, personally, as well as my friend, as I keep talking about, will owe you a favor. And he looks you each in the eye and lets that sink. Now, as far as the four of you are concerned, favors within kindred society are very, very, very important. They are some of the best quote-unquote currency you can get amongst other kindred in this thing. To owe somebody a favor is basically to call them to murder somebody if you want somebody dead, as long as the job that you did for them is equivalent to that kind of thing. So he lays that down as like, you'll be paid, and I will owe you a favor. And I saw John Wick like years ago, Scott. Don't even. I haven't seen the second one. I haven't seen it.
So, what's the job?
Alex had something important, as I told you. Alex had information on him that was important to my friend and also to me. Now, I find it interesting that Lancia Sanctum actually was the one to kidnap our good friend. But luckily they were not able to get the information out of him because Alex is a good ghoul. Alex does what he's told, and Alex is rewarded for being a good ghoul. And he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out two pieces of paper. They're kind of folded up, and he unfolds one, he kind of slides it onto the table, and he unfolds the other and also slides it onto the table. We've had word of an elder vampire that has been in Torpor for many hundreds of years. We've been looking for him for quite a long time, and Alex stumbled upon the information as to where to find him. Now, we're not stupid enough to assume Alex is the only one with this information. We can assume that because Alex was able to find it, that other kindred within our society have this information as well. But we want him back we want him awoken and brought back here before anybody else can get to him and decide to do whatever it is they wish to do with him. When he slides the photo forward and he slides this piece of paper forward, the piece of paper actually has things written on it. And I will send that to you guys as a note here on the thing, but I'll read it out loud as well. But let me post it here. Basically, it's quite simple. We want you to find him, and we want you to bring him back. Alex has discovered he is in a graveyard a few hours outside of Chicago proper. Now, it's still under the Prince's rule. It is still a suburb of Chicago, but it is far enough out where kindred claws don't necessarily grasp as firm. There could be other kindred out there that are claiming it as their own just because the Prince doesn't have the manpower to enforce as strict ruling there as he does here in Chicago. There's chances of hunters or lichens, though that's drastically unlikely out that far, and I doubt we'll be seeing any wizards out there either. I think more than likely, if you're going to come across anything that's not our own, it might be outside of kindred hunters of some sort, but I highly doubt those distasteful folk are going to be out that way. We want you to go get them, and I'm hoping you will be open to this. I'm sending you the note right now. I apologize. All players.
Okay.
All players. Save. So you should have a note right now. It just says, might just say pop out. Now, where is it?
So, I mean, if I get this correctly, you want us to go dig up a corpse.
I mean, he's not dead. He's in torpor.
Okay. Semantics, but like, it's a corpse.
Cal is just on fucking board already. He's like, so down for this. Like, she looks at you, Jimmy, like, as if you don't want to do it, I'll do it alone. Like, I got this. Digging up corpses, I'm good. That was all in a look. Like,
Right. You looked at him like, how dare you say no to this?
I will. Like,
It's Arkwright Cemetery. That's where I want you to go. The note, by the way, for those who are only listening, reads, got to Rabbi Males in Arkwright after midnight. Went to that dead boy's tomb at 2 o'clock. The grave of the liar is locked tight, north of the boy and south of the Lady of Grief. Ask her where the key is. And then in parentheses it says, put in the glass like you asked. I hope Pope remembers the words after all these years. You'll on it all if you still know your Ars Magna. And then at the bottom it says -ch.
So where'd you get this note from?
Alex. And Alex got that note from somewhere else. I don't ask questions. He got the information. And that's all that
Can I
matters.
see it?
Yep, the note is on the table for the four of you to try to grab. And the other piece of paper, it's a copy of the note. It's very clearly like a scanned copy of the note. And the other piece of paper is a scanned copy of a picture. Picture is important because the picture itself is clearly from the 1800s. And it shows one person standing next to a box of some sort, human-shaped, in length, actually out in Arkwright Cemetery.
When Emmy takes it, I just kind of lean over my phone and take a picture of the note. And just to be clear, my phone is not set to auto push everything to cloud.
Yeah, I figured.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
I would like to see if I get any visions from touching the note.
You're more than welcome to make that roll.
Okay, I want to use the Spirit's Touch.
Yep.
Which is going to be my wits and occult and aspects. Wits, occult, and aspects. I have so much in this, and then we'll see if it actually does anything. 1 success.
So you reach out and grab this note, and you fall into yourself a minute and are able to see its past, and you see flashes of this thing's past. What you see is flashes of this paper coming out of the copier and being printed out. It is a copy of the note. So you see it being handed around, but outside of that, you can't really see so much because it's not the original note itself. Sorry,
it's
Maggie.
incredibly clear.
Is that not the original?
No, it's a copy, like I said. Both are folded up copies of both the photo and the note.
Okay, I thought you said one. That's why I asked if one of them was original.
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. I apologize.
Okay.
I misheard.
Then she's gonna look back up and go,
So, do you have the original?
and she tosses the note over back on the table.
Of course we have the original. I'm not handing it to
Right.
you or the four of you. It's nothing that I don't trust the four of you, but I mean, let's be honest, you're brand new. I'm not gonna lay something
Well, you
so
don't
valuable.
have to give it to me to have forever. Can I just see it?
No. And he smiles.
But that's how my stuff works, right? Like,
Yes, of course I know how your stuff works. And I don't want you touching any of it.
You trying to hide something?
Welcome to Kindred Society, young lady.
I do snort.
Well, how do you expect us to help you if you won't even let us?
I expect you to do what you did last time. Go to this place. This note clearly is speaking in riddles, but has some sort of useful information. Figure out where this body is hidden.
Yeah, and if you gave me the original note, I'm going to use persuasion, then maybe I might be able to actually do something with it.
I turn to my sire and I'm like, this is bullshit.
He nods and like raises eyebrows. And he's like,
Yeah,
it is bullshit.
dumb. This bureaucracy is fucked up. Just get over with. Give her the fucking note.
Have none of you ever had like a job with like chain of command? You know the chain of command, right?
I've never had a job.
I swallow back the comment I was about to say. It's very forceful.
Moonbow leans over and like nudges him. He's like, "That's why I like you."
So I
Still swallowing.
doubt this is going to go very well, but I want to use my persuasion, manipulation, and persuasion specialty, which is a deal you can't refuse, and say,
Go
Well,
ahead
if you
and
want me to help you, then you should let me at least see the letter, and then we'll do the job, no problem.
Did it roll? Is that my
Oh.
roll?
I only see the wits, occult, and auspex roll last.
Okay. I didn't do it. I didn't add anything for the specialization.
So if you want to roll one extra d10, go for it.
How do I just roll one?
Just roll / 1d10. All right, roll it again. 10 again.
Oh. Oh!
Jesus Christ!
Ugh, all right.
You only had to roll it like 3 more times. You could have gotten a dramatic success.
Good God. All right. So he, what do you say to him? You're like, we're just not going to do this unless you plan on showing me the note.
Oh, well, she more so makes a deal. She's like,
You can either go on a chance of us getting this, or you can let me see the letter, and we'll definitely find it.
He keeps eyes with you, and his smile and his witty retorts kind of cease, and he just kind of locks eyes with you and just watches. And after a few uncomfortable, awkward moments of silence, he pushes himself back and takes a deep breath. I see why your sire chose you, though, Varys, I've still yet to see much value in you. And he reaches into his jacket and actually pulls out the photo, and he slaps it on the table. You can use your abilities, but you do not take the picture with you, or the note with you.
That's what you get for being a kiss-ass, Varys. The end of our campaigns!
Does Callie actually say that?
Huh? No, I didn't actually say that,
Oh.
no.
I was
I was
gonna
like,
say,
no, she's...
this is like, Varys hasn't kissed any ass ever.
You super have. Do you know what chain of command is? Are you serious? Fucking
Yeah.
Varys.
Chain of command is when they tell you, go fuck yourself, and you have to because there's nothing else you can do.
Girl, you don't have to do shit. Me and Jimmy get it.
So you asked for the original note, right,
The
Emmy?
good thing is a yes man is a way to put it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So she
Okay.
she goes over and she's like very satisfied and like looks at everyone and takes the letter and looks at it and watch. I'm gonna roll so bad. That's what I'm imagining is gonna happen. Because I already did 2 successes or like 2 successful things. So now my third thing's gonna be fail. So it's wits, occult, and aspects. Okay. So we have wits, occult, and aspects. And we cross our fingers. This is like rolling 10. Let's see what happens. 5. 5.
Are you fucking kidding me, Maggie?
It's a critical moment when I need
kidding
it to be useful, though. So yes.
So this is on the note, right?
Yeah, this is on the note.
Now, when you have a critical success, you can basically look for the very specific thing that you're looking for. So what were you specifically looking for with this note?
So our goal here, let me make sure that I got this right, is to find this person.
That is correct. They're asking you to go to this graveyard where they believe that he has been hidden away and to find him and awaken, well, assumingly awake, he'll go through the details, awaken him and then bring him back.
Okay, so I'm guessing this letter is more so just trying to help us get to that location. And there's clearly some words we're supposed to remember. So I would like to figure out what those words are that we're supposed to remember.
So the handout I
and
gave,
what
did
we need
it
to
pop
put in
out?
the glass, if I can. And I think
Yeah, it's in Mysterious
that-
Note if you want to read the letter.
grave. We kind of have a description of where the grave is already, right?
You don't know where the grave is. That's half the problem.
Oh.
You know where the graveyard is, but you don't know where the grave itself is, and that's they want you to go find the grave.
Okay.
So you're looking at the note.
We don't know who the grave is for. We don't know the name of the person.
No, you don't know yet. He's gonna. The details are about to be laid out before you. He just wanted to see what your reaction was when he said payment will be money, like some money for you all, as well as being owed a favor.
Okay. Yeah. Then I guess that's kind of what I'm looking for is the words that we're supposed to speak, what we're supposed to put in this glass, and
Okay.
potentially anything
So I know
else.
what I'm going to show you. So you again, you reach out, and this note is a little on the older side. It's not like as old as like the copy of the picture looks like 1800s, but it does look rather old. But it's still in good condition. Eventually, the world fades away, and once again, you start seeing visions, flashes. And initially, it's just flashes of the graveyard, flashes of the person scribbling a note very hastily on a piece of paper. But eventually, certain key words of the note start sticking out, and pictures start matching up with that. So when you read, for instance, on the note, it says, south of the Lady of Grief. When you see the Lady of Grief in your mind, the words morph and change, and then turn into like a lady who, a statue sobbing in the graveyard itself. When you see the words Ars Magna, you're not actually, your brain starts trying to show something, but it gets all muddled, and you don't really get a pure, clean picture of whatever that actually means. And then the Grave of the Liar, which is in quotes in that particular note, you're actually able to see in the picture the box that the guy's next to, the guy who's standing next to. When you see Grave of the Liar, it actually flashes to that human-shaped box in the picture that you guys already saw before you're able to snap out of it.
Okay.
So
So
you
Aaron-
associated Grave with the Liar with the wooden human-sized box in the old picture, Lady of Grief with a crying statue in the graveyard itself, and then Ars Magna didn't actually show anything for some reason.
Yes, I'm guessing that's the words that I had to remember. Well, did I get anything that would give me an information on putting it in the glass like you said, like you asked?
Nothing popped out for that.
Okay.
I have encyclopedic knowledge,
Mhm.
which I'm very proud of. Is there any way that I can contribute to this? Do I know anything
minute
about
you
the
will be.
cemetery in the area,
And
or
yeah, I'm gonna actually have you make rolls in a second. I just
Yay.
once you guys get a little bit more information to have you guys roll on.
fantastic?
So, Emmy, eventually you open your eyes, the world comes flooding back, and you're sitting in front of your people. Do you say anything?
So, the crying lady. Could I gather where that is?
It looked pretty prominent, like in the graveyard itself. Basically, the idea is you now know what you're looking for in the graveyard itself.
Okay.
The Lady of Grief. Now you know that means you're looking for a statue specifically.
Okay,
in
that's what I
the-
got out of this.
Yeah, as well
Cool.
as the grave, whatever you plan on interpreting, but Grave of the Liar, and then seeing the picture of that box in the picture that's on the table.
Okay. Cool. I hand the letter back to him, and I'm like,
Well, I know where it is now. And the grave of the liar is his grave? So who's that?
That's who you're looking for. His name is
What's his name?
His name is Pope. You're looking for Pope. Raphael
name
Pope.
is Pope? He's
Raphael.
not the Pope. His name is Pope.
His name is Pope. Correct.
Oh, okay.
Raphael Pope specifically is who you're looking for. At that point, when you hear the name, I'm gonna have everybody make a roll real quick. I just want to figure out what roll I want out of everything. Cool. So I'm gonna want for you, Caligari, intelligence plus occult, and because you have encyclopedic knowledge, another +2 on top of that. I want that as a roll for you. You're all welcome to make intelligence plus occult as well, if you so choose. If anybody else has encyclopedic knowledge, you are part of the Ordo Dracul, Jimmy, correct? So you are going to get a +1 on this roll.
Okay.
Why is it wound penalty?
Did you not undo your wounds on your character sheet?
Whether or not I did, I should. Oh, because I was putting damage on the wrong side. That's why I applied a wound penalty.
Okay.
Oh, did I do that earlier with other rolls I made? Oops. Let me do that again. Oh, I don't think it would have mattered anyways.
Jimmy tried, and that's what matters.
Yeah, you tried. It's all that matters. Nothing really sticks out for you. Varys, as soon as that's your roll right there. 0. Okay. So Caligari and Emmy are the ones that are going to get some information here.
Oh shit! How's that a wound penalty? Fuck.
So basically, the name Raphael Pope, Grave of the Liar, all these things start kind of getting the gears going in your heads. And Varys and Jimmy, that doesn't mean shit to you guys. It doesn't mean anything to you whatsoever. However, Amelia and Caligari, especially through your heavy research, Caligari, of just learning about vampires and politics and whatnot, the name rings a bell. You're not quite sure what, and you take some time to think, and you remember reading something in a book about a Raphael Pope. You remember that maybe in his earliest days as a kindred, he was known as a traveling performer for a vampire himself. He put on nighttime children's shows using magic, and I use magic in quotes, using a magic lantern to tell tales of British sea victories and whatnot. He used the name Dr. Illuminatus, is what he used. And this is during his early kindred days. And this is stuff that you may have recently read in all the Lancia Sanctum books that you ended up grabbing recently. I'm sure you kind of tore through those maybe last night, the night, just when you were, before the moon went down and the sun came up. However, Emmy, you actually learned something, you remember something a little different. You're not entirely sure, but you believe that before this guy was sanctified, he was part of, and not be sanctified as part of the Lancia Sanctum, which he was part of the Ordo Dracul. He was a dragon, part of the order that you think Jimmy has actually talked about a little bit. After he left the dragons, he tried to go back, but they would not take him back for whatever, because they believed that he had developed a loyalty to the spear, which is the Lancia Sanctum, well over the Ordo Dracul. So he was part of the Ordo Dracul, he left, wanted to come back, and was not allowed back. So those are the two things that weird knowledge or just research has gotten to you beforehand. So that's what you know on that.
I'm going to call out, or I'm going to just look at everybody else around the table, especially the sires, and I'm going to say, Dr. Illuminatus. Is that the name that I got right?
Your sire actually smiles and starts nodding his head. He's like, yes, I thought I heard that name as well. And then Mr. St. Clair says, so you've done some research. A child who actually cares about the society they're in. That's rare. Yes, he had a bizarre early kindred. He was not part of Chicago before during those years, so I know very little about his younger childer years. But I do know that he fancied himself an entertainer.
I heard that he tried to get back into the Order of the...
Is it Order of Dracul?
Ordo Dracul.
He tried to get back into the Order of Dracul, but they wouldn't take it back.
Interesting. That's not a rumor I'd heard before. And he kind of like tilts his head. Jimmy, now hearing that, it still doesn't ring a bell. But Moonbow kind of like pounds his fist onto the table and he's like, and he wasn't allowed back in, the motherfucker. He was a traitor, and that's all that you need to know.
Oh yeah, that's what I heard.
But we're still going to get it.
Traitors have their uses, Jimmy.
I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah, so then he looks around St. Clair. So am I to assume that the four of you plan on actually doing this? It's appreciated greatly. Great.
Yeah, why not?
Come back tomorrow night. We're gonna give you everything you're gonna need. The copy of the picture and the letter are yours to take alone. You're welcome to have them. But we need a night to get everything else that you're gonna need to head out to this place prepared, as well as a drive. We're gonna have a nice long. We're gonna have not a Chevrolet, a chauffeur. There we go. Driving you. Maybe he'll be driving you in a Chevrolet. Who knows? Take you to this graveyard. It's gonna be quite the distance. So make sure you're full and not needing anything while you're out there, if you know what I'm saying. Feed, if you must. Other than that, you're welcome to go, and he kind of waves you. We'll see you tomorrow night. And he waves you out.
As we walk out, I'm actually gonna like look to Emmy and be like, "It was fucking amazing. That was fucking great," you know, and give her like a loving pat on the head.
Thanks.
And she like smiles and she's happy. Also, I would like to go over and ask, I guess, St. Clair. Is that his name?
Mr. St. Clair. Yep.
Mr. St. Clair, if he has that drawing that she drew.
Quite magnificent. A lot of detail you put into this. It matches up quite well with the stories you told me last night.
Do you mind if I see it for a moment?
Of course. And he'll go off and he opens a drawer and he actually pulls it out and hands it over to you.
She's gonna take it over and show her sire the drawing that she drew.
Oh. Lionel crouches down and looks at it, and he ruffles your hair a bit, and he's like, it's quite good. You're very talented, Emmy. You're very, very talented.
She loves this. And then she brings the drawing back and gives it back to them.
And he takes it back with a smile and puts it back in the drawer. As you're leaving Caligari, your sire's relative, he's kind of chatting with you off like about nonsense and just talking about what you found and the things you learned. How impressed he was that you even knew who Pope was, even any rumors. But as you're moving, all of a sudden out of your clothing, you didn't notice it. You're not quite sure why you didn't notice it. Maybe this particular thing is a little stealthier than you're used to. A little mouse ends up crawling out of your collar or your shirt. And he kind of curls up on your shoulder, up against your face, and he just kind of cleaning himself right there. And
I try to act like this is the most natural thing ever to impress the sire even more.
The sire,
Did I tell you his name?
Huh?
His name is Zigzag.
His name is what?
Zigzag.
Zigzag.
Yeah, and he's like a super gutter punk dude, and I just I fucking love it.
Hell yeah, gutter punk.
Yeah, so I look at this and I'm just like, yeah, this is what I do.
Zigzag looks at the mouse, looks to you, gives you a wink and a nod, and continues discussing. Now, to you, Caligari, you recognize this mouse. This is the church mouse from the basement.
Mouse!
Yeah, and he's looking at you, and he's cleaning himself, and he looks all super happy that you're here, and you're not quite sure how he got out or followed you, but he did, and he's with you.
Hey, buddy. I'm sorry.
He's just eating away.
Okay. I'm just gonna chill with him. We'll have time to catch up, little bud. But,
he very happily if you pick him up and then put him back, he very happily goes under your shoulder and just sits there and just keeps gnawing away on whatever piece of food he had. He's just munching on it. And
Did
just
I
very
ask
happily
his
on your
name
shoulder.
before?
You did not.
I'm gonna ask him that. I'm gonna try and tell me your name, kind of thing.
Sure. Just need an animalism check, I believe. Plus, I want to say it's presence,
There's
but I'm
also
not
animal
sure.
ken.
Yeah, you're gonna need it's that plus animal ken plus animalism.
Okay.
I don't remember what the third one is. I can't
It's
remember. I can never remember. My memory
Strength.
is.
I squish him.
You can't. You're welcome to kill him if you so
I'm
choose.
not going to. I rather like him.
I'm just saying that's up to you. Feral Whispers is manipulation plus animal ken plus animalism.
Manipulation. Well, I have 2 in manipulation, so that's good. Okay.
We're gonna
here we
pop
go.
the rolls.
Bonk. Son of a dick.
You always roll 0. It's so weird. It's so weird. You don't
I
lock.
put so much effort into this.
You don't lock eyes with him. You aren't able to catch his attention, but he doesn't leave your shoulder whatsoever. He seems very, very content just hanging out with you.
we'll chat up a little bit later. I try to play it off as though I wasn't looking for his attention because again I'm still trying to like kind of
Yeah, of course. You
look
gotta.
cool around Zigzag. I'm like
Zigzag seems incredibly impressed. Honestly, Zigzag is more impressed with you as you speak with him about all the books and stuff that you were able to snatch. And
Isn't one of your specialties specifically like mice or rats or something? Like,
Yeah,
don't you get a
allies
+1 die?
no, she has solving enigmas, disguise, and shadowing as her specialties.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was. My
Yeah.
apologies. I'll shut
No, it's all good. But he's actually incredibly impressed with all the books that you ended up getting, and he invites you back to his haven for the night with all your books to read books, Caligari.
Fine.
Read all the books.
Cool with it. I tell him extraordinarily things that I think that he would be really like proud of. That I got this arm from a vampire and I'm trying to like make it into my own little like minion friend, and that we like fucked up a church because I knew that he would be super down with that. He's
super
like
down with
crazy anarchist and like fucking hates authority and all that other shit. Yeah.
No, I say when you talk about the church and stuff, he's enthralled with the story you're telling. He's like an inch away from your face, zero respect for any personal boundaries, but he's like within an inch from your face, and just like listening intently to your story. And when you talk about bringing the arm back to life, he actually does like seem curious about that, as if like, do you not know they dust? But when you clarify you do, he actually just finds it more interesting that you are looking to find this forbidden knowledge about how to possibly bring back a vampire arm as a pet. But he is beyond interested with every word that you say. And you can tell as you're telling stories, like everything is being locked away in memory. It's which is not new to you. Your sire is just as thirsty for knowledge as you are, which is probably why he chose you to sire in the first place. Varys and Amelia, you guys walk out. Lionel is shortly behind you, and he's kind of got that limp going. Do you have anything that you wanted to talk to him about? Because much like you, Varys, he actually keeps to himself, very kind of a plain guy. He kind of pats you both on the back and, like I said, ruffles Emmy's hair and is proud of you guys. But he doesn't really say much outside of that.
I'll actually say something to him. Like, hey, Lionel, listen, like we always got along. You did good for Emmy and me, but like this shit, I mean, like all these rules, and I mean, they're kind of fucking weird. Does it stay that way all the time? Is this thing's kind of like let up a bit? I mean,
What are you
do I always have to like bow down to some dick in a fucking suit? I don't even think he owns another suit. I think it's the same one.
He a very small like smirk crawls across his face and he raises an eyebrow. It can vary from city to city, Varys, but typically you are at the behest of those above you, not because you want to, but because you have to.
I mean, listen, I get that. Like, I was part of the military. I work for the government and shit. Like, I get that. That's fine. But those are my decisions. You know what I mean? And I get the way that this shit works. We already went over that before. You don't have to explain it again. But like, I got to kind of choose those people, even if I didn't get to choose the immediate people. And I always had an out if I wanted to. But like, this is kind of like, this guy's a dick. And it's not like he's paying me. He's just like a dick. And I just have to like, be like, I'm fine with this dick.
You're an ambitious man, Varys. Much more ambitious than I think I'd ever be, which is why I like you. You did your job and you worked outside the circles that you needed to get the information that you wanted when you were immortal. If you want to break free of the chains of these society, if you want your outs, if you want the rules to be yours, then you need to play the game and posture yourself above those who are already above you.
Fuck. It's just gaining rank, same as it was before. You gotta spit shine the right boots.
Politics. You know this.
Yeah, no, I get it. I didn't know exactly how it worked. I didn't know if it was just like, no, I had to, fuck the right guy or do what you gotta do. I mean, I wasn't
You
sure.
could probably do that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm sure.
gross, though.
It's in the military too, so I guess, yeah. All right.
You'll never be above those you work for unless you take it from them forcefully here, unfortunately. The Prince of Chicago only took the chair of the former prince, or matriarch as it were, because he spent decades building his own network and webs before he decided to overthrow her and take it for his own. That's just how things work here. You build your own webs, you build your own network, and you take it as yours. Otherwise, you work for people like him, people like me, for the rest of your undead lives. Let me say something. Your coterie, your group of vampires, it's a hell of a lot of useful abilities amongst the four of you. Start there.
So in short, I gotta learn this shit. I gotta open a book or at least talk to the Nosferatu because she seems to know quite a bit.
He nods. He doesn't really say much, but he nods.
I mean, she's pretty. She's wicked weird too, but I mean, like at least she's not bad. Like I don't mind her. So I guess I can.
Nosferatu have their quirks. It's part of their bloodline.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about her though. Like she's fucking weird, but she's honest. You know what I mean? Like she's not hiding anything, and I can trust that. So I at least appreciate that. But
I like her. She's into books too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I guess I just better start with the bookworm shit and figure out what I got to do.
Yeah, maybe you should open one. Here.
She takes one out of her like little bag that's in the shape of a bear, unzips it, takes the book out, and hands it to him.
This will be your reading for today. Take this as your assignment.
And
Emmy,
she closes up her
Emmy.
bag.
Can I find this shit on Kindle?
It's not the same, Varys. You have to actually spell the book, okay? It's not
Yeah, okay.
the same.
I mean, I'm not gonna walk around with like fucking 50 books in my backpack. I'm sorry. It's just
I only gave you one. If you want 50, I mean,
She looks
Yeah.
around.
But I imagine like you see her walking around with armfuls of and then I imagine the conversation devolves
Yeah,
into,
just he trails off as you're all walking away.
We could just go.
Jimmy, you're walking out with Moonbow, and Moonbow seems disgruntled, but at the same time energetic. You know, like he's ready for what's to come, and he's kind of like arguing with himself, but also with you, and like like he's a fucking traitor. You know what I mean? Like he looks to you when he says, "You know what I mean?" And you're
Yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, well, but we're
Theoretically.
finally gonna have him, and he's gonna be ours. He's gonna be ours." Oh, I'm so ready. He's been gone for so long. Anyway, and he kind of like cools himself down. Jimmy, I'm proud of you. Yeah, you fucked up a gargoyle as far as I know. That's the story I was told. And if it weren't for you, the three of them would be dust on the floor of a church, and that is not a way you want to end your undeath. So I appreciate it. I'm glad everything I taught you went to good use. And he's kind of like taking your victory and turning it into his personal victory. And he's like, you did a good job, but you did a good job because of me. And he just kind of goes about that way. Is there anything you wanted to talk to him specifically about?
You want to go through rocks at trains?
You want to throw rocks at trains? He's like, I could relieve some stress, and I don't want to take it out on a mortal tonight. So he
We're gonna
goes
throw
with
rocks
you
at
and
trains.
throws rocks at some trains.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. That is the wow. We're already at it's already been another hour. Okay. Well, we'll take a break here, and we'll pick up getting into the proper job in the next hour. We'll be right back.